Hello and welcome to Nature Days Outdoor Learning Resources, sponsored by the Gower Society. And my challenge for you today is to see if you can make a water filter. So it's been raining quite a lot here and there's a lot of watery puddles about. So we need to first of all collect some dirty water. Now there's a few things you can use to collect it. I've got a great big syringe here which can suck up the water, or you can use a sponge. But what we need to do first is to collect some dirty water. The dirtier the better. So look in some puddles, find some muddy puddles, nothing that's got any horrible chemicals in, but some muddy puddles would be perfect, and put them into a jug. So here I've got a nice bit of collected dirty water in the wheelbarrow, so I'm going to gather some of that by filling my sponge and putting it into my jug. If it's as deep as this, you can also just use the jug to fill it up. Now that's a bit dirty, but I want it a bit dirtier than that. So I'm going to add a little bit of soil and a little bit of leaf material just to help it to be more dirty. There we go, nice bit of dirty water, ready to test my filter. You will need some cotton wool, some charcoal, some sand, some small stones or pebbles, scissors and a pop bottle. First, take your pop bottle and cut the top third off, just like we did when we made the rain gauge. In fact, you can actually reuse your rain gauge to make your water filter. This is going to be your filter and this is going to be your collecting, just like for the rain gauge. So this is where we need to put our items that we're going to use to filter. Because we're going to be using things like sand and stones and charcoal, we need to stop them falling out of the hole. So that's what the cotton wool's for. Pull it out so it's a bit fluffier, a bit bigger, and then push it in from the bottom into the hole. If it's not big enough, put some more in. Make sure there is no way that any sand or any small bits of stone are going to come out either side. Next, we need to do layers. So we're going to start with our sand. So we need a layer of sand on top of our cotton wool. Next, we could put in a layer of charcoal. So if you've got charcoal, it could be any, this is homemade one, so it's like little twigs, or you could buy it, or you can find it. And then we need to crush it and just add it to the top. Now we don't need too much of this, because what the charcoal actually does is actually activate the process, and it starts to take away any of the bacteria that's inside. We can't take it all out, but it's not the actual material that's doing it by trapping particles like the sand is, it's actually the chemical reaction. So just a little layer of that is fine. And then next, we fill up as high as we can with small stones. If you can start with the smallest stones you've got, and then layer up to the next size, and then try and fit them as closely as they can, a bit like a jigsaw puzzle, then all the better. Now you can experiment if you like with how big your layer of sand is, how much charcoal you've got, or how big your stones are, to see which one is the best filter. But there, that is our filter ready, and then we place it inside of our container there, and then all we have to do is pour our dirty water into the top and watch it come out to see if it is clean. So now I'm going to take my dirty water and I'm going to put it through my filter to see if the water that comes out is clean. Now you've got to be careful. If you do it too fast, you could end up letting your cotton wool fall down, and then obviously your filter completely goes out of the hole and doesn't work. There you go. So you can see it's working because the cotton wool's still bunging the hole, so it's not all going down. Now it's going to take a little while because it's got to soak through all those stones round the big holes between the stones, and all that leaf material will start to stick to the stones. And then the sand will take out the smaller particles, and hopefully the carbon will take out any nasties. And lastly, the cotton wool will stop the small particulate matter as well. Things like sand and silt will be stopped by the very bottom one. And then coming out the bottom should be much cleaner water than what I have here. So you then need to have a look at that water once it's gone all the way through, compare it to what you started with, but it's probably not going to be completely clear. You'll probably want to put it through again and see if it will clean it a second time to make it even cleaner. So that is the water filtered once. So we're just going to put that into a container so that we can see it clearly. Although I'm putting it into a glass, that does not mean you can drink it. This is not suitable for drinking. So that water's been filtered once. And if you have a look, especially if you compare it to the water we started with, we've managed to get quite a lot of debris and material out of that. However, let's see if we can make it cleaner. We're going to put it through a second time. So let's see how clean that is, or clear that looks, after filtering twice. Again, compared to where we started. Now, if we want to be sure that it's clearer, so we can use an OPALOMETRE to find out how clean it is. So all you have to do is to print one of these off. If you go to the Nature Days blog, you can print this off. Then place it into your glass of water and see how many of these dots you can see. Now, if you can only see the dark ones, it means that your water is quite dirty. You can see all the way up to there, then it means your water is clean. So you need to count how many of these different shades of grey you can actually see in your water. So make sure you laminate it first, pop it in your water, and make sure it sinks down to the bottom. You can also do this in your pop bottle as well. And then look into the top and see how many we can see. So I think I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of those different circles, maybe 8. Now if we compare that to the water we started with, and if I put the OPALOMETRE into there, gosh, it's nearly vanished. Oh, there we go. We can't see any. If we let it leave it to clear for a bit, we might be able to see some, but we'll probably see less than we did for the cleaner water. So experiment with your filter to see how many layers you need and which is the best way to clean the water. You can also try with different types of dirty water, so ones with large particles in, like sand, small stones, maybe bits of leaves, or try it with stuff that really starts to be very difficult to actually take out, filter out. So maybe some mud. If you've got clayey mud, that's going to be really difficult. But have an experiment and see which is the best method. But of course, this is not drinkable water, so although it might be clear enough to see through quite a bit, it can actually contain lots of dangerous things inside it. We haven't taken out any of the chemicals that might be dissolved in it that might be dangerous to drink. We also haven't taken out any bacteria, pathogens, viruses, or anything that might make us ill. So you can never drink this water unless you're 100% clear that it's been cleaned with all of those removed. Now, to get rid of the chemicals, you need a chemical filter, which we can't make, it's too technical. You also need to get rid of all those bugs, and the way to do that is either by boiling it, because when you boil it, you kill all the bugs, or by using another chemical which will also kill them. So one of those chemicals is potassium permanganate. This is potassium permanganate. It's a chemical which is flammable and also harmful, so it's not something you can play with. It's a difficult chemical to get hold of, but it's got lovely bright purple crystals. So what I'm going to do, just to show you how it works, I'm going to put a tiny bit inside this water so you can see. And what happens is it will start to basically oxidize all the animals, so that's not good. It's going to be like absolutely destroying them. And this purple will slowly start to diffuse all the way through my water until it all becomes the same colour. And by then, if I leave it for a few minutes, we know that every single bacteria has actually been destroyed by our potassium permanganate. But it also looks really cool. So if you manage to make a water filter, I'd love to see it. So please do post any pictures on Twitter, #NatureDays, or on the Facebook page. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and look forward to seeing you again at the next Nature Days Outdoor Challenge.